I used to regularly use Viagra in order to get it up and keep it up, especially in situations that were more anxiety inducing, like the first time I was with someone. I still remember the first time that I lost my erection when I was with someone, and after that moment, I always questioned whether or not I would be able to perform. And after multiple circumstances where I was unable to get it up, I decided to begin using Viagra in order to do the trick. And while the little blue pill did work for me, I didn't feel that I actually needed it because my penis was working fine when I was by myself or when I was with regular partners. It was only situations that were more stressful, like with first-time partners, that I actually needed it. And I found that I became psychologically dependent on the Viagra to the point where if I didn't have it, my anxiety would be quite high. Then, as I was nearing my 35th birthday, I started noticing that I was no longer waking up with morning wood anymore, and I knew that I needed to make a change. I'm happy to report that these changes allowed me to not only regain my morning wood, but I now have better and firmer erections than I've had in years, and I no longer need Viagra for those situations where I used to rely on Viagra so heavily. So what exactly did I do? Hey, I'm Ryan Mack, sex coach and educator, and as you've heard, I personally suffered with erectile dysfunction, so I know how hard it can be. Before I share with you the 4 major things that I did that allowed me to stop using Viagra, I want to let you know that I have a brand new course available on overcoming erectile dysfunction. I have condensed everything that I've learned in the last 2 to 3 years on how to overcome erectile dysfunction and get firmer, harder erections, and I've put it into a course that I'm extremely proud of and I know is going to help a lot of you out there if you suffer with erectile dysfunction or if you just want harder erections than you've had in years. Go to passionately.com/ED course or click the link in the description down below if you want more detailed help on how you can overcome any issues you may be having. So what changes did I make in order to regain my morning wood and get harder erections? Well, the first major change that I made was I introduced more protein into my diet. I had heard this suggested from podcast interviews with male porn stars in the past, but up until that point, I'd been a vegetarian for 8 years and my protein intake was probably quite low. And so I decided to reintroduce meat into my diet as well as to up my protein intake through things like protein bars and protein shakes. And I actually noticed a dramatic difference in my erectile performance to the point where it only took 2 to 3 days after starting to eat meat to then regain my morning wood again. It was a huge relief for me to see my morning wood come back, and I've kept meat in my diet since then. However, I only eat meat maybe 2 to 3 times per week, but I am much more diligent with my protein intake and regularly consume protein shakes every single day, and I've found that this has had a massive benefit for me. The second thing that I did where I noticed a huge improvement was I started taking L-citrulline supplements. When you get an erection, your body releases nitric oxide, which allows the blood vessels in your penis to dilate or widen and more blood to flow into your penis. Your body has 2 pathways for creating nitric oxide, and L-citrulline is part of the L-arginine pathway, which can help your body to boost its production of nitric oxide. There's studies on both L-citrulline and L-arginine, which has shown them to be effective in helping men with mild to moderate erectile dysfunction. And I've definitely noticed an increase in the firmness of my erections when I'm taking L-citrulline, as well as the fact that it's now much easier to get erections and they seem to stay around for longer. I personally take around 3 grams of L-citrulline per day, as that was what was used in the study that showed the benefits. However, L-citrulline is also in many pre-workout mixes of 6 to 8 grams. So sometimes I might take a higher dose if I feel like I really need it. There's also a variety of other supplements that I take that I feel have helped with my erectile dysfunction, and many of these are backed by science. If you want to see all of the supplements that I take, you can go to passionately.com/ED or click the link in the description down below and you can get free access to my list of supplements over there. The third thing that I started to do to boost my erections was pelvic floor exercises. There was a study done to see whether pelvic floor exercises would improve erectile dysfunction, and 74.5% of men saw an improvement in their erectile function when doing pelvic floor exercises for 3 up to 9 months. 74.5%, that's basically 3 out of 4 people saw benefit from doing pelvic floor exercises, and 40% of the men regained normal erectile function. Pelvic floor exercises should not be overlooked, and while I've known for years that they help with erections, I had been lazy and hadn't been doing it. And since I started doing it again, I noticed that my erections improved. This isn't something that you're going to see an improvement in just a couple of days. It's like going to the gym. When you work out, it takes months to build that muscle. And the same is true for pelvic floor exercises, but it's completely worth it. I do both Kegel and reverse Kegel exercises to not only tighten and strengthen my pelvic floor, but also learn how to control and relax my pelvic floor so it doesn't get over tight, which in some cases can lead to testicular pain and even premature ejaculation. I think both Kegels and reverse Kegels are extremely important, and I've done a full video here on exactly how to do them. And the last thing on this list that helped me to stop using Viagra was I took control of my mind in order to overcome performance anxiety. See, I was fine at getting erections when I was by myself or I was with regular partners, but it was the anxiety of the first time that I was with someone that was messing up my erections. I was so scared that I would mess up, and I really wanted to perform and make a good impression on this person that it was messing with my erections. And so rather than relying on pharmaceuticals to help me, I decided to finally tackle the issues in my mind and overcome them. To do this, I gave myself permission to fail. I went into new sexual encounters without Viagra on me at all, so I had no chance to use it, and I knew that maybe I wouldn't be able to get it up, or maybe my erections would ebb and flow over the course of the night with that person. I knew that failure was a possibility, but I also knew that it was okay to fail, and I learned how to talk to the partners that I was with if it did happen, so we could still have a great sexual experience, and to increase my chances of getting an erection later in the night so that we could still have sex. I teach you exactly what to say to partners and what to do if erectile dysfunction does strike in my course. And again, you can get access to that in the description down below. On top of that, I learned everything that I could about performance anxiety, and I learned techniques to calm my mind and my body. I began practicing meditation to learn how to control those invasive thoughts and how to relax and be more present in the moment. And I also learned how to focus on my partner to get really aroused by them, and how to control the flow of the sexual encounter so that intercourse was more likely to happen at the point where I had an erection rather than trying to do intercourse at a point when I wasn't really hard.